Welcome everyone. Today we are going to look at some basic CSS styling. As you can see on my page, I've defined some HTML tags, some HTML elements. I have a H1 of visual edge designs. That's the heading element. I also have a paragraph element in the of the text. We specialize in all form of graphic design and other creative jobs. So also I have another H1 element as our mission, and I have another paragraph element as our mission is to produce high quality design. appealing to the eye. So we've linked the H1 and the paragraph elements. Basically, what we have on this page is not much. Fact, then I also have HR element, and I've told you that the HR element is a horizontal rule. It helps us demarcate our code, like something like that. It's just for drawing an horizontal line. That's the effect when you run into your browser. So now we want to style, we want to do some basic styling. That we want to style our page, we want to design it, we want to give it colors, we want to give it specific fonts, handwritings, the likes, and there are other styling, but just the basic styling because we're going to look at CSS selectors then next, and we're going to need the knowledge of this basic CSS in order to fully understand our CSS selectors, in my opinion. So firstly, what I'm gonna say we should do now is we're going to create a file. The same way we create a file for the HTML page, that's the same way we're going to create for the CSS page. So as you know, the HTML page, we are going to create the file as anything period HTML, that is anything dot HTML. For example, this page I'm on, I name it index.html. So let's first do that. So as you can see, inside this page I mean the page which you are looking at now, it is inside a folder. So I next the file into this folder. So the CSS you are also going to be creating must be inside this folder. It mustn't go out of the folder, because if it goes out of the folder, it is not going to be able to link to it. You are not going to be able to reference your CSS. So anything you are creating must be in that workspace. Any file you are creating, if it is inside a folder, the CSS file, the HTML file, or any other languages file you want to include on your editor must be inside that folder. So I'm also going to create a CSS file inside this my tutorial.html. So we are just going to simply click on that dot after the dot by the side, and you choose on create a new file, and you are going to name the file anything.css, anything of your choice, period CSS. So mostly developers use style.css. Style.css. That's what most developers use. In our HTML, we use index.html. When in CSS, most developers use style.css. But if you use anything, any name, any file, any name of your choice, your code is still going to run. But just to have a unique style of doing it, that's why they use style.css. I hope you understand. So after that, the next thing you want to do is that you want to link your CSS file to your HTML file so that both of them can be calling each other. When you are designing in your CSS, you can be referencing it to your HTML and vice versa. Because without the linking, anything you are designing on your CSS page or any code you are inputting to your CSS page, it is not going to run on your browser without linking it. It is not going to show up and it's not going to come up on your browser. So that's why you have to link your HTML page to your CSS page. Or I mean your CSS page to your HTML page. And there's a tag we use for that in our HTML. So if you go to our HTML page now, we're going to define a link tag. So the link tag is the one that's going to help us reference our CSS page to this HTML page. And the syntax runs as though. After opening your less than tag, you're going to write link, link, and rel, then is equals to, After then, you are going to open a quotation mark and you write style sheet. Then, where you are referencing to href, I've told you during the anchor tag, we also have href for anchor. So that href is just like where you want your tag to link to. So the reference. So inside the href, you're also going to put is equals to, and then a quotation mark. Inside that quotation mark, the href quotation mark, you are going to include your CSS file, which you want to link, which you want to reference to the HTML page. That's what is going to be included inside the quotation mark. So after then, you close your page. You close your tag rather. So fortunately for the link tag, you don't have to. It doesn't you use closing tag, but you don't have to rewrite the link. That is, you first write a slash and then the link. No, you don't have to do that. You can get rid of the link and just use your slash and your greater than tag. Sometimes you may not even have to include a slash there. So any way you feel like to navigate to your CSS page, let's go to our CSS file, our page rather in the editor. If I'm talking about page here, uh, and I'm not running anything on the browser, just know that I'm talking about either the HTML file or the CSS file. Or if to say I've run it on the browser, know that I'm talking about the web page. So now I'm talking about the editor page. The CSS file editor page will open the other tab. So let's just navigate there. Let's do some codes, some style. So first of all, if we can recall vividly, I told us that anything that is written under our head tag in the HTML, it is not going to show in the browser page. I don't know if you can do. This implies that anything we are including under our head page is not going to show on our browser. Although it might be having some effect. For example, we can borrow some handwritings from other websites. And so the link to that website is going to be included under the head section. After then, I told us that anything which is written under the body section is going to be displayed on our web page. That is on the browser we're using to run our code. And with this mobile app, we're running it locally. We aren't using Chrome, we aren't using other browsers. We are using a local browser, an inbuilt browser, which this code is providing for us. Implies that all our tag, that is our H1 tag, our paragraph tag, our HR tag, and any other tag which I defined under this body section we can style it, and after we style it in our CSS, it's going to be displayed on our web page. We're going to see the effect with our eyes, the changes, and the design with our eye. So let's begin by styling the H1 tag. As you can see, in my HTML, I have an H1 with visual edge designs. And I want to style the visual edge designs such that it's going to be bigger and the color is going to be changed. Also, it's going to have a background color. So I'll start by calling this my H1. I'll type it H1. After then, I'm going to type a curly bracket. I'll open a curly bracket. And inside that curly bracket, that's where I'm going to define all the code, all the style I want to use. So inside the curly brackets, I can give the H1 a color. I'll start with color. I can give it a color of red. So the color is COLOR. I think it is an American spelling. It is not a British spelling with a U with it. If you use the U, your code is not going to run. So it is COLOR. So after you define the color is the style you want to style. Then you open the column. After the column, then you give it the name of the column. That is the value. After the value, then you close it with your semicolon. Without the semicolon, your next code which you want to write is not going to work. So the semicolon is just like a closing tag in CSS. So you must always put the semicolon there. Without that semicolon, the next code you want to write, the next styling you are defining on your page, it's not going to effect. After then, I'll give it a font family. What the font family means is that you want to change the font style. You want to change the handwriting. So as you can see, this is an inbuilt handwriting. This is the automatic handwriting for the browser. Your device might have a different automatic handwriting, but for my own device, as you can see, this is the handwriting. So I want to change the font family. That is the handwriting such that it's going to be in another style of handwriting. So I'm gonna give it a font family of let me say this. After then, I can so we can give it any font family. I'm going to just give it this. So you have different font family. After then, you do the same thing, your column and your semicolon to close it. After then, you go to the other line. You can give it a background color. So I'll give my H1 a background color of green. I'll give it a background color of, let me say blue. Let me give it a background color of green. I'll give it a background color of green. After then, I'll close it with my semicolon again and then come to the next line. I'll call my paragraph tag. As you can see in my HTML, I have a paragraph tag and a text written in it. Inside the text, I have a strong element. And I've explained to us that the strong element or the strong tag is an inline element that is used to bold the text we select. In this, we are going to realize that the graphic design is kind of bold. Even though CSS can change that, we can style it differently, but the graphic design is going to be bolder than the rest. So I can do the same thing for the paragraph tag. I can give it a color. Let me give it a dark color. Close it with my semicolon. After then, I can also, I want to be giving it a background color because it is a paragraph. I don't think it needs a background. So I can give it a font family. I can give it a font family of maybe monospace or any font family, any handwriting you like. So we are going to have some inbuilt handwritings, and also we can import handwritings from the web. Like I said earlier, when we import handwriting from the web, we are gonna include it under our head section such that we can call it in our CSS. So then I'm gonna give it a font size of, let me give it a font size of 20 pixel. 20 pixel. So that takes me up. I didn't give my H1 a font size. Let me give my H1 to something bigger. Font size of I can give it a font size of maybe, let me say, 35 pixel. That's going to be very big for a mobile. It might not be big on the phone, but or on the system, but on a mobile, it's going to be big. So that the screen of mobile is kind of small. Yeah, it's small. So after then, I can style my strong element, my strong tag, that is the graphic design in my HTML, the inline element I defined under the paragraph tag. So I can style it differently. I can give it a color. In fact, it was at first bigger because I used a strong element, a bold element. So I can even style it in this aspect that if I reduce the font size, it's not going to be as big as the other text. But I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to change the color. So I'm just going to change the color. So yeah. So these are some of the basic styling I just want to show us, because when we deal with CSS selectors, I think we're going to be needing this. We're going to have the knowledge of how this basic styling in order to have a better understanding of the selectors and so on. Yeah. And then before I forget, let's go to our HTML document, our HTML file. I think I forgot to talk about the image tag in the previous videos I've downloaded. So if you're not able to access the previous videos, you can go to my page and just click on it. You're going to find those previous documents, those previous videos I've made. So let's create an image element so that we can import image into our page, our web page, and we can work with image and we can also style it. So the first thing we're going to be doing is you are going to create your img tag. That's the short form of the image tag, img. You're just going to open the less than symbol, tag, and you type your img. You type your img. You aren't going to close it with the greater tag, the greater than sign symbol. You're not going to close it with that yet. You're just going to close it with you're not going to close it with yet. You're going to write img, then src. The src is the source. That is the source of folder you want to access from your system, src. And then you write the source of folder you want to access. But lest I forget, before the HTML, before the img tag, before inputting any image into your browser, you have to first bring it inside your workspace. That is inside the folder you are working on. So that's what I'm going to first do now. So I'm going to have to press the three dots and I'm going to say import file. So after I import it, I'll click on the file I want to import. Yeah, I can choose any picture I want to import. So after I import the picture, it's already in my workspace, right? So we can then work on it. So the source, you are going to include the name of the folder, the name of the picture. It may be a JPG file, it may be a PNG. So regardless, it's going to work. So far it's picture. So far you drop the source of the folder. Also, we have this ALT. So I think for now we don't really need the ALT, but in future classes we're going to hold. I think I'm going to explain it further. But for now, what we just really need is the source of the folder. So after defining my image tag, so I can head back to my CSS file, and then I can style it the way I like. So let's go to our CSS. Okay, and then we're going to call the img tag. We're going to call it img and then open our curly bracket. So instead of curly bracket, we are going to give it a width. We're going to give it a width that we want to change the size. We're going to give it a width of, let me say, 300 pixel. Let's give it a width of 300 pixel. We're going to be kind of smaller. So at a height of 300 pixels also. We can also give it a, okay, after then you close your semicolon. And let's give it a, before I close the semicolon, let's give it a border radius of 3 pixel. So that's the border radius of 3 pixel. Yeah, and we are good to go. Can you see the styling has changed? So you can style the wild picture to just a small scale. So you can even be smaller than that. So depending on your choice. So that's just it. So I just want to give us a basic understanding of how the CSS works. So these are basic understanding. So in the coming class, we're going to learn about CSS selectors, HTML selectors. So, and we're going to be needing it. We're going to be having a need for it in our CSS file. So I wish you all the best and thank you for joining the class today. Now, in the coming class, we're going to learn about the selectors and the semantics HTML. And I think after that, we're going to go and we're going to begin CSS by the grace of God. Goodbye. I remain your humble tutor, your Bill. I wish you good luck.